The AICPA has released dates for the 2026 CPA exams, both the core section and the discipline sections, for the first half of 2026. Let's take a look at those dates, see how they fall, and see if you can prepare yourself and make a plan for when you're going to take those exams in 2026. Let's start with the core exams. The 2026 core exam dates are shown here. We won't go through each of them, but we want to point out the score release date and the time until that release happens. So up here we put turnaround time. So this shows you how many days after the end of the exam period, that you'll receive your score back. So if you took the exam on the last date of that period, listed there in the left column, then we show you how many days it's going to take to get that score back. Obviously, if you take your exam earlier in that window, it's going to take even longer, but this just gives you a good idea if you're trying to hit the end of those ranges, how quick you can expect to get your scores back. So for example, for the first period of the year, if you take your exam by January 23rd or on the 23rd, then the earliest target release date is the February 10th, and that's going to be 18 days turnaround. Again, if you took it at the end of the period, which I'd recommend so that you can get your score back as quick as possible and plan if you need to take in a section again, or if you can move on to your next section. So we see here that we have a couple pretty quick turnarounds. They're doing a good job in the first half of 2026. Back in some of the COVID years, 23, 24 was a little better. 25 was better. 24 was bad with not many release dates. But like the March 9th period ending, 8 days turnaround. 9 days for the next section, and then we get a couple more 9 and 8 days turnaround. So if you're taking that test right at the end of the period, there's a good chance you're going to get that exam back in under 2 weeks, which is awesome. So it is to be noted that it has to be the date the AICPA receives your file by. So this probably only falls down to like exams taken on a weekend. If you take one on a weekend and that's the cutoff date, that file might not be transmitted to them until like Monday. So that's just a small percentage of cases, but hopefully this gives you an idea of when you want to try to schedule those exams so you can get your scores turned around as quick as possible. For the discipline exams in 2026, they make it kind of easy on us here, and it says from the website, the discipline sections will be administered in the first month of each quarter in 2026. So that makes it easy. So they only gave us the first 2 months of the year, or the first two sections of the year. So January, you can take the test, the discipline test. April, we're just going to assume that you can do then after that, July and October. It hasn't been posted yet, but if they're going to go for the first month of each new quarter, then that's what we'd bank on. These turnarounds are a little bit worse. 41 days for the January testing period and 47 days for April. So keep that in mind as you're taking these tests. Again, you don't have much flexibility with only 4 testing periods for the year for these discipline exams. But just keep it in mind and then work in those core exams around when you can take these discipline exams to get your timing like perfectly worked out. Maybe take it in January, pivot to a core exam, and then when you get that score back, you can have a couple weeks, a month maybe, to see if you need to take that core discipline exam again in the April period. So this just gives you a pretty good idea of the dates you can expect for 2026, how to plan your testing, when you're going to take your discipline exam, how you're going to schedule your core exams, just to prepare yourself and give yourself a roadmap and a plan for 2026. If you've got any questions, please leave them in a comment below, and we'll do our best to answer them. Thanks and good luck studying for your CPA exams.